I want to show y'all something. Did y'all see this? Yo, that was crazy. And I don't think it was no AI either. I think that was real. Look how whatever she holding fall out her hand at the same time. Wow. Now my question to the people watching this is, how would you feel if you was in this situation? Would you be scared or would you be willing to go? I mean, really think about it. You know how they make mention of the rapture, all right? And people out of nowhere just getting put up in the air? Well, what if in reality, it really is these extraterrestrials using light photon tractor beam technology to pull certain individuals up. And the individuals that they pull up is people that they scanned, people that they thoroughly analyze. And if they morphogenetic field output a certain frequency, then they're selected to get pulled up or abducted. This whole theory or concept may sound completely crazy to some of y'all. Some of y'all may be thinking I'm wilding, but I'm going to show you a few scriptures that actually show detail of certain individuals being put directly up in the air. It's important to know that all of the angelic entities, as well as demons and gods that were ever made mention of in the Bible, were actually extraterrestrial biological entities, some agreeable and some disagreeable, all right? It states several Old Testament figures were taken up to a heaven, all right, either in a vision or physically as a result of their special relationship with God. Now, we know heaven in the Bible was actually referred to as Uranus, all right, originally, but the translation in Uranus translates to Orion, all right? So when they make reference to being in the heavens, typically this is the constellation of Orion. It also states that sometimes this was done either in a vision or done physically, all right? So typically if it's done in a vision, this is happening in an astral plane where these extraterrestrials will visit them in the astros and actually take them to certain realms. That also could happen, or it can actually happen physically if you're in a certain resonance, all right? Again, these extraterrestrials typically don't like coming down to the third density due to the fact that their realm is so heavy, all right? So oftentimes they'll scan your frequency, and if you vibrate in a certain resonance, then they could come near you without getting sick. The book of Enoch in Genesis, it states Enoch walked faithfully with God, then he was no more because God took him away. All right, so again, oftentimes that some of these extraterrestrials, Anunnakis, Elohim, some of these beings were revered as gods. All right, they stood, their stature was very tall, they had technology that they didn't understand, and typically these ancients referred to them as gods. So anytime you see them saying they're walking with God, they're not talking about the prime source, they're actually referring to some form of extraterrestrial being that they highly revered. If you look at Elijah, it says a chariot of fire with horses of fire appeared and separated the prophet Elijah from his successor Elisha. As Elisha watched, Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. All right, so he was taken up also. And in Ezekiel, it states the prophet Ezekiel was lifted up by the Spirit of the Lord in a vision. And when Elijah was taken up, he was taken up in a vision, all right? So this, to me, means that the individual that Elijah was referring to as Lord or God was actually some form of celestial spirit guide that was bringing him from third density to higher dimensional realms of consciousness, basically in turn elevating Elijah, right? Now, oftentimes when you decalcify and activate the pineal gland, when I'm utilizing things like Blue Lotus or Mugwort, sometimes I'll actually communicate with higher dimensional entities that will give me tutelage and access to the Akashic records. This is why I recommend decalcifying and activating the pineal gland, utilizing herbs like Haritaki, utilizing herbs like lion's mane mushroom, aka Hericium erinaceus. It's known to regenerate damaged neurons. I recommend the utilization of Bacopa minori, all right, also known as Brahmi, named after Brahma, which is the Hindu deity and god of creation, all right, and it's associated and linked with universal consciousness, all right? So in turn, when you look at the word rapture, the rapture is being put from earth to heaven, all right? So that could be basically associated with the root chakra, which is attached to earth. And when we talk about the crown chakra, this is the personification of heaven's gate or heaven, all right? So you being put up from the root to the crown chakra could be in turn your higher self abducting you, all right, or pulling you up, all right? So this is what the real rapture is. It's eternal work, and you pulling yourself up from the lower chakra centers to your higher chakras, basically from the eye complex, the reptilian brain, that fight or flight, basically to that higher transcendental state of consciousness and seventh circuit of the brain. Now, because we're in an age of awakening right now, there's a lot of individuals all over the planet currently waking up and becoming aware that this whole system, this whole maniacal, tumultuous, patriarchal realm have been subjugated, all right? And we're taking the power back slowly by stepping into consciousness and awareness, all right? Everybody waking up elevates the frequency, and it pretty much distorts the illusion that they currently have. It distorts it. It scrambles the technology that they're using to pretty much hold up the veil, all right? The veil is being ripped apart. When you see certain crafts or UFOs take up individuals, all right, it's primarily because they're not from here. They had a certain mission. They were sent here for a certain period of time, and they're elected to go back home, all right? We don't know who we are in these higher dimensional realms. We're under this state of amnesia right now. A lot of you are a lot higher ranked in the cosmos than you believe you are. Some of you are gods and goddesses that control multiple realms, and kings and queens and of higher hierarchy in your realm, in your particular area of the cosmos, all right? You're just here playing a game. So don't be surprised if you see ships, all right? A lot of times they're watching you for a reason.